So we are going to try some Venn diagrams. Now I picked these two problems from the My Math Lab assignments, and as you know, the My Math Lab assignments randomly generate numbers. So, I mean, there's a chance that you would get these numbers, but more than likely your problems are going to be exactly like these with different numbers. We're going to start with the one that talks about the 3 languages because it's a little bit easier. So at a school with 100 students, that was the number that my problem gave me, here are the language counts. So 31 take Arabic, 36 Bulgarian, 34 Chinese, 8 take only Arabic, 14 only Bulgarian, 11 only Chinese, 14 take Arabic, Bulgarian, and some Chinese. How many take all 3 and how many take none? Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make 3 circles, one for each of our languages. 1, 2, 3. Arabic, Bulgarian, Chinese. Now, when the first one says Arabic, that's how many are in the entire circle. So that's not how many are right here. That's how many are in the whole A circle. Okay, so the easiest ones to look at are the ones that say only. Okay, so these 3 right here say only, so that's where I'm going to start, right there. So it says only Arabic. So only Arabic is right here, because if you were right here, you'd be in Arabic and Bulgaria, right? So only Arabic is right here. Okay, now put that one in there, so I'm going to mark it out. Bulgarian is only here, if it says only Bulgarian. And only Chinese go right here. Okay? And that's how we begin. So that's where you'd start at where it says only. Okay, now, I'm also going to go down to this part next. So this is my step 2. Arabic, Bulgarian, and some Chinese. Now, here is Arabic. And here is Bulgarian. Okay, so this one says Arabic, Bulgarian, and some Chinese. So this would be Arabic, Bulgarian, and some Chinese. So in this gray area right here, you're going to have 14 people in the whole thing. So I don't know if it was 14 in the top or 14 in the bottom or 7 and 7. I don't know the relationship, but I know in this piece right here, in this gray piece, there's 14 people. So I don't know how to write that other than just put it right here. I know there's 14 in that group. I don't know where they go yet. All right. So we'll come back to it. Now then, in the red circle, which is Arabic, in this whole red circle, I know that there are 31 people. Well, I know that there are 8 in there and 14 in there already. So there's 22 in there already. And so, to see what's left, I can just subtract it out. That means there's 9 left. And that's how we would get that one. Okay, so then you have the Bulgarian. It says that there are 36 in there. So that's my green circle. There are 36 people in here. Now, I still don't know the dynamic of that 14 in the middle, but I do know that in that gray region I colored earlier, there were 14 people. So right now I have 14 people in the middle region, 14 by themselves outside, so that's 28. And in the Bulgarian circle, there should be 36. So we'll see how many are left. And it's going to be 8. So that means there are 8 right there. So that takes care of that one. So then we go to Chinese. Let's color that one orange. Okay, so here's the Chinese circle. Now that 14, that's kind of, I don't know about that one. So the 14, that gray 14 doesn't really help with that one. So what I do have in the Chinese circle is I have a 9 and an 8 and an 11. So if I add those up, I get 28. But in the Chinese circle, I should have 34. So that means I'm going to have 6. So in that missing spot, I should have 6 right here. Well, you said, oh, well, you had 14. So that means if there's 6 there and in that whole gray spot, remember the gray spot right here? There's the gray spot. If there's 6 in that bottom part, I'm going to just color over the gray spot. If there's 6 in that bottom part, and there's 14 total, that means that if there's 14 and there's 6 here, then there has to be 8 here. And then you have completed your Venn diagrams. Okay, so the question says how many take all 3? Well, the only thing in all 3 circles, I know it's kind of messy, but it's the 6. So 6 take all 3. And then it says how many take none. Okay, so I'm going to do some calculations. You want to add up everything inside the circle, and there's lots of different ways to do it. Like if I added up everything inside the red circle, 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 9. Now that should be 31 because we calculated it earlier. So you could add those up. You also need to add the 14 and the 8 and the 11. So if you added all of those up, you get 16, 15, 14, 19. Add them up again. That's 13, 18, 24, 64. Okay, so there's 64 people accounted for in the circles. So remember that there are 100 people total. So if you had 100 students and 64 were accounted for, that means you have 36 that did not take any language at all. Okay, and so that's how you would do it. I know it's kind of messy, but hopefully that helps you better than my math lab was helping you. Okay, so you have one more of these. Let's try that one. This is the one about the travel countries. You have 71 students in total. They're going to countries A, B, and C. So here we go. A, B, C. So it tells you that you have 25 total in the A circle, 33 total in the B circle, 30 total in the C circle, 7 is in the A and B area. Then you get to the only. Okay, that's where you should start. That's the easiest. So it says right here that you have 16 visited only C. Okay, so that would be 16. And you have 15 visiting only country A. All right, and that's all we know. Alright, so let's backtrack. Then I'm going to do A and B, and it says 7 visited A and B. Okay, so that's a tough one. 7 visited A and B. That's the hard part. Okay, so here's A, and here's B, and I know that 7 people, I'm going to color that a little better. 7 people lie in that region. Okay, I don't know where they lie, but we know they're in this region right here. 7 people lie in this region right here. But I don't know if they're 5 and 2 or 7 and 1 or 6 and 1. I don't know what they are. So I do know that there are 7 of them. I don't know where to put them yet, but there's 7. Okay. So now then, let's go from there. In the red circle, that's circle A. In the red circle right now, let's see if we can fix that. I have 15 and I have 7. So I have 22 people. That's country A. But country A should have 25 people. So that means I have 3 people outside. That's where it would go. Okay. Then I've got country B. Country B is here. So in country B, I have 7 people, but that doesn't really help me. Okay, so that's where it gets tricky. This is all that I know right now. I don't know anything else. And so that's what we have to figure out what to do. So let's look to see what I can also narrow down. It says I have 71 total students. Okay. And I know that, let's see if we can narrow it down a little. This is the tricky part. So I had to even look back at my notes for it because all the Venn diagrams are a little bit different, and this one is included in that different category. All right, let's look at the green circle. Okay, the green circle, that's where all my unknowns are, right? Because I've got this spot and this spot and this spot, you know, those are where all my unknowns are. Everything else in the other part of the Venn diagram, it's accurate, it's already fixed. My circle is B, that's my bad part. But what I know about B is in that green circle, there are 33 people. Okay, I don't know where they go yet, but in the green circle, there are 33 people. Now let's look outside that circle. Outside that circle is already set. There's 15 people in only A. There's 3 people in that overlap in the red. And then there's 16 people that only took C. So that's what's left. Let's count up all those people. So you have 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 and 6 would be 17. 3, 4, 6, 67. Okay, so there's 67 people accounted. I don't know where they go, but there's 67 people accounted in that Venn diagram. Remember, there's 71 people total all through the whole problem. So 71 minus 67 tells you there are 4 people, and there are 4 people that are unaccounted for, or 4 people that have not traveled to any country. Now, there's a clause at the end. It says some members have not been to these countries, and that is the same number that has been to all 3 countries. So 4 have not traveled to the country, and by that definition, it also tells you that 4 have traveled to all 3, because it told you by coincidentally, the same number that traveled to none traveled to all 3. All right, so now that we know that fact, 4 have not traveled, and 4 traveled to all 3, we can backtrack. Okay, so remember that 4 traveled to all 3. So that means 4 is going to go in this blank right here. Okay, so remember that blank should have 7 in it totally. So if 4 is in the bottom part, 3 would go in the other part. So that would be the 7 in the middle. Now let's backtrack and go to country C. Okay, country C, we'll color pink. Here's country C. In country C, I should have 30 people. But right now, I have 3 plus 4 plus 16. Okay, so that's going to be 23. So that means I'm going to have 7 left. Okay, so there's 7 left. Let's go to the green circle. When you go to the green circle, that's country B, you should have 33. And right now, I have 3 plus 4 plus 7. Okay, so that is 14. So if we see how many are left, I'm going to have 9 here, 19. Okay? Now I realized I never put the question up there. Okay, so here are your questions for this particular one. It says, how many students have been to all 3 countries? Okay, well that answers 4. And it says how many have been only to B? And that answer is 19. Okay, so that's how they would look. I know that one was much tougher. So my trouble with that one is once you got to that part where you had the 15, the 3, and the 16. Oops, let me put that back. There we go. Once you got that part where you didn't know, you got to a stumbling block, and you knew you had 15 and 3 and 16, but you had no idea where to go next, or at least that's how I was. But you knew that in this green circle, that there was 33 people. You didn't know where they went, but you knew there were 33 people. Then you can use that fact with the fact that there were 71 people total to get you on your way. So you kind of jumped out to the total there. Now hopefully that helps you with the Venn diagrams. Let me know if you need some help with some of the